Here's a great example of what a turbo looks like when it has no shaft play and the piston ring seals in it are still good, but it's blowing oil really bad. So in this case, the first thing I look at is what size is the oil drain. So it's always a good idea to measure that, and the factory size oil drain for the Mitsubishi Turbo was about 15 millimeter inside diameter. This aftermarket drain measured almost 13 millimeter, and this other drain is a factory Subaru line that measures 14 millimeter. So I'm going to port match the aftermarket drain, and hopefully that will fix part of the problem. It's a good idea to port match the step in the oil drain. This will help for a much smoother transition of the oil flow from the center cartridge to the oil pan. If this transition is not very good, then oil can back up into the cartridge and be forced out the seals. In this case, the turbo is still good, but it's leaking oil because it can't remove the oil. So the seals aren't blown out, which most people claim that they are. As you can see in this case, this seal is still good. It has no wear. And here's a great example of a seal that does have wear. A common misconception is that the oil seals wear out, causing the turbo to blow oil. Most of the time the thrust bearing wears out first, and then the in and out shaft play will cause the rear seal to wear out. Now back to our turbo. The front seal of this turbo is still good, but the rubber O-ring was not good anymore. The O-ring became very brittle and hardened up. Most likely this was caused by an overheat condition, and I think it was because the oil drain may have been too small, not allowing enough oil to be removed down to the oil drain. You have to remember that the oil is there to cool the turbo, so it's removing heat from the turbo and bringing it down to the oil pan. Once the O-ring was dry rotted and wasn't sealing anymore, then boost could then enter into the crankcase through the seal plate. So once boost starts entering into the crankcase, it can cause a lot of crankcase pressure, which also causes the turbo to blow oil. Crankcase pressure will push in all directions and often come back up towards the oil drain, which won't allow the oil to drain out through to the oil pan. If your turbo is still blowing oil, the next things that I would check out is my other video, how much oil pressure to run to a turbo. Also watch the turbo blowing oil checklist video.